What's up, Dominators? Welcome back to the ShiHai's channel, and today I present to you my Shadow Paladin deck recipe. So yes, this is the long-awaited Shadow Paladin deck recipe after V-BT04 Violence Deleter. It features the 4 AL4 clans plus the Koji Ibuki Link Joker support as well. So we're gonna get through what do I run in this deck. This is actually not my deck, so thank you very much for Wilson actually. Shout out to Wilson for allowing me to lend his deck and mod his deck to what I will actually run in the deck by my own preference. Alright, so I'm gonna get through the deck. First is a force deck, obviously. It's force, so you ideally want to get some force markers. I have the 3 force markers right here. 2 are IG and 1 are Ren. I run Kai, sorry. Unfortunately, I don't have the Ren sign marker, in which I'll get 1 really soon in another video. But hopefully this video will actually allow me to hit 1000 subscribers on my video. We're currently at 981 or 82 around there, so just a little bit more to 1000 subscribers, and hopefully I can unlock the community guidelines in which I can ask you guys what video you guys would want to see next. Alright, moving on to the starter, we got Full Ball. So Full Ball, I don't think you can't really, escape from it. It's the reprinted version. As you can see, V-BT04 right here, it's common. But basically, it's all the standard starters which on right, you draw 1. So nothing to talk about it. Moving on to the new grade 3. So the new grade 3 we're gonna see right here is Gust Blaster Dragon. So this is basically the new finisher for Shadow Paladin. As the force marker, it's grade 3. And the VR sign right here. Okay, the skill is when you attack, you may Counter Blast 1, you retire 2 rear guards, draw a card, your opponent chooses one of his or her rear guards, retires it, and this unit gains 10k until end of the turn. The second skill is when your rear guard is retired, if a grade 3 card with Blaster in this card name is in your soul, this unit gets +1 crit until end of turn. And take note that this skill stacks, so if you actually retire 4 units, it gains the extra 4 criticals for whatever reason. But the first skill already forces you to retire 2 of your rear guards, so it's basically a 3 crit base power or base inbuilt crit in a sense, yes, already into this Gust Blaster Dragon. Funny thing is, even if you have no counter blast, you may just call over your units if you have a grade 3 card with Blaster in its card name in your soul to actually pressure your opponent. That's why this card is really good. A lot of people have a lot of controversy saying that, oh wow, Gust Blaster Dragon doesn't have a guard restrict or this kind of thing. I feel that it doesn't really matter because it is strong as of now. It's still really strong, and I've seen it topped in many tourneys because with the force meta now being RP and SP topping a lot with Angel Feather and all that, I feel that Gust Blaster Dragon is a really good card and doesn't need to have the guard restrict to be scary. Moving on to the normal PBD, so we got the Phantom Blaster Dragon right here, the old one, V-BT02. Skill, Counter Blast 1, retire 3 rear guards as X skill. Your opponent chooses 3 of his or her rear guards and retires them, and this unit gets 15k 1 crit, so it allows you to get that 28k 1 crit for free. If you retire 3 rear guards, which is really simple, with Nimin obviously, and the new Swordbreaker. Then the other skill is X, 1 per turn. If your opponent has 4 less cards in his or her damage zone and no rear guards, you may Soul Blast 1 grade 3, deal 1 damage to your opponent's Vanguard. Both of them have 4, so all the grade 3 has 4, so it don't really matter whether you ride into Phantom Blaster Dragon first or Gust Blaster Dragon. Ideally want to ride into Phantom Blaster Dragon first, into Gust Blaster, but you may ride Gust Blaster first as well. If you are going against clans that have high rear guard reliance, like let's say most of the XL clans such as Murakumo, Tachikaze, or I don't know what else clans there are, I don't know what grapplers, I don't know what's the meta XL clan. Basically it's just Murakumo. You ideally want to ride into Phantom Blaster Dragon first to burn most of their rear guards. Moving on to the grade 2, so the grade 2 we run a variety of grade 2s. First we have Blaster Dark. Okay, so a lot of people think that in this deck, Blaster Dark is basically outcasted, but I don't think so. Even though yes, I have to agree that after the turn 2, if you don't ride into him and your opponent has a full field, which is most of the time they will, the second and first skill is practically useless. So skill is when place Vanguard rear guard circle, you combat one, opponent chooses one of his or her rear guards and retires it. And then the X once per turn skill, if your opponent has no rear guards, you discard 1 card from your hand. This unit gains 1 drive until end of turn, and it's only a rear guard circle. So after this your grade 2 turn, basically it is pretty much useless. You can discard it for a 5k shield. That's the only reason why I run 2 off. It's pretty inconsistent, yes, because you have to rely into riding him and only play 2 of him in the deck. But if you do get that off, it's really satisfying. So it's basically somewhat of a flex spot over here. You can actually swap Blaster Dart out to run other grade 2s, but I still run Blaster Dart because it's pretty cool and I have that special rarity of the reprint, so why not? Moving on, we got Darkborn Trumpeter. I think this is the new grade 2 in a sense, even though it's a 9k base compared to all the other grade 2s which are 10k bases in your deck. Skill, Vanguard, Rearguard. When placed, you may count +1, search your deck for 1 card for that is 5000 power and then call it to Rearguard as rest and shuffle your deck. So basically, this card helps you to filter out for your Nimane if you're starting hand or if you don't draw into Nimane. You may count +1, search your deck for a Nimane, call it as rest. Bad thing about this card is basically you call the card as rest and you don't call it as stand, so you can't use Nimane skill immediately. I'll get to what Nimane skill is later and what the unit is all about. The other skill is Vanguard Rearguard Circle. When your 5k power Rearguard is placed, this unit gets tricky on the end of turn. So basically it stacks with Nimane and Swordbreakers, which are both 5k power and grade 1s. So I have 1 OR here, or Wilson has 1 OR here, and then 1 of the normal rarity, which is triple R. Ideally, I wouldn't recommend you guys to run more than 2 or less, or don't run it at all. If you want, it's really enough. You don't have to run 3 or more. It is really not worth it to run 3 or more. Moving on, we got Maka. So Darkness Maiden Maka. I think this is the OG grade 2. The best grade 2 to combo off with Charon, obviously, for free draw 1. X1's button skill, count +1, call grade 1 or less card from your hand to Rearguard Circle, draw a card, and this is against 5k on the end of turn. Basically a 15k beat stick, and then combine it with Charon is basically a soul +1, draw 1 for free. And Charon against 3k, or Maka against 5k, so it's so much value at your grade 2 turn. Ideally you want to ride into her, or you want to use her with Charon on your grade 2 turn with Blaster Dart on your Vanguard Circle. Moving on to the grade 2 that I play as one of the pressurizing cards in a sense, Tragic Knight Cathbart. Skill, Rearguard Circle only when it attacks Vanguard. This unit gets 3k at the end of battle. For each Rearguard you have more than your opponent. So basically, if you got 5 Rearguards or more than your opponent, in which your grade 2 turn you ideally will have, if you have Nimane on the board, you will have basically plus 15k power to this unit. So because you got 5 more Rearguards, for each Rearguard you gain 3k, so 5 times 3 is 15. You can don't play this guy actually if you really don't want to, but I think the pressurizing part is the more Rearguards you have, the more power that this unit gets. So it's a free grade 2 rush in a sense, in a grade 2 rush turn, where you actually, even if your opponent tries to trigger, it doesn't really shut this unit down very much. So 3 off. Last but not least, we got the counter charger, in which everybody thinks that you can guard with this unit, but you can't. It's Curse Lantern. So continuous skill, when this card will be called from hand, it must be called to a Rearguard Circle with a unit. And then when placed, you may Soul Blast 1 this unit against 10k at the end of turn if you have no face-up cards in your damage, so you counter charge 1. So one thing trivia about this unit is you cannot guard with this unit because of the continuous skill. When this card will be called from hand, it must be called to a Rearguard Circle with a unit. So you are unable to call this unit from your hand to the Guardian Circle. So it's basically, this 5k shield is basically useless unless you can intercept with it. But in order to intercept, you have to call this to a Rearguard Circle with a unit. Basically call over the unit, and then you're able to intercept. But other than that, this unit is actually just there to counter charge in case your opponent decides to what's called damage deny you, restrict a counter blast. You may just use him as a surefire way of getting that extra counter charge other than Charon. So 2 off. Moving on to the grade 1s. So grade 1s I run 11 if I'm not wrong, or is it 12? Basically we're gonna get through the grade 1s. First we have Scar Witch in the main. So I think this is the bread and butter of the deck. Basically it's a 5k power, but skill, X skill, rest this unit, search your deck for up to 1 5k power card, call it to open Rearguard Circle, shuffle your deck, and this ability may be only used by a card with the same card name once a turn. So basically, even you have 2 of her on the board, you can't rest 2 of them and then call another 2 that be too strong. And you can use it once per turn. So obviously you have to play 4 of this. It's basically what your first ride would be. Your first ride, you draw one of your starter skill and then you immediately call Nimin and start tapping her to get more units out on the board for your Phantom Blaster Dragon turn. This is really important why you get her out in the early game. For number 1, you can get the early rush. Number 2, you set up for your PBD turn, and number 3, if you really don't have her Trumpeters here to actually call her out for you, that's why we play 2 Trumpeters. Moving on, we got 4 Swordbreaker. So this is the new unit in V-BT04 Wireless Deleter. Skill is a Blackwing Swordbreaker. Yeah. When placed, you may count +1, draw a card, and then if this unit was placed from hand, this unit gains 5k until end of turn. So if you notice that both Scourge in the main and Swordbreakers are both 5k power, so you can tap Scourge in the main to actually call a Swordbreaker out, count +1, draw 1, but you obviously don't get the 5k power because it's not placed from hand, it's placed from the deck. So you can actually run 3 or maybe even less, but I don't recommend you run less than 2. It's ideally 3 or 4. I run 4 because sometimes you have to ride into Swordbreaker or you ride into Nimin as your first Vanguard. You're starting grade 1, which is really common. Other than that, some of times this unit might fly to damage zone or fly somewhere else, you'll never know. That's why I choose to run 4 for more consistency rather than 3. Moving on, we got Charon. So basically the counter charger to pair with the main. Backstage Charon. When placed due to the ability of a card, you may soul +1, counter charge 1. This unit gains 3k until end of turn. So basically what you want to do is call this with Maka. Maka skill counter +1, you call Charon. Charon soul +1, you counter charge 1 and +3k. At the same time, you draw one card off Maka skill and Maka gains 5k as well. So 4 off, you don't want to cut this out, like legit. Just play 4. Don't have to play 3 or less. 4 or less. 3 or less actually, yeah. Alright, moving on, we got the trigger. So 4 Maglias. I don't think I have to tell you why. It's the Kanzen for this deck. And surprisingly, I don't run the Grade 0 draw trigger in this deck. You actually can tap Scourge in the main to actually call out a trigger as well if you really need in dire situations. So what people like to do is actually run one of the vanilla draw triggers. Belial, is it what? Howling Owl? Is it Howling Owl? Yeah, I think so. But I run 8 crits in this deck, so 8 crits, 4 draws, and 4 heals. I don't bother running the draw trigger, which is Howling Owl, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, here, this card. So I don't bother running it because I feel that 8 crits provides more pressure, and if you're running this draw trigger, it really cuts down on your number 1 pushing power and number 2 the guarding power, in which you lose up 10k shield because of the you running this 5k draw trigger rather than a 15k shield crit trigger. Moving on to Cutbat, if I'm not wrong. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I have no idea. Basically, this skill, Vanguard skill, you once per turn you may soul +1, check top card of your deck, you may call it to Vanguard Circle, and then that unit called gains 5k. Reason why I don't run it is I think that 8 grade cheese is enough in this deck. I don't really see the point of running him when you got Swordbreaker, you got Nimin to tap and call out more units for yourself. But yes, I have to agree that I see people do run this card and it's good, but I really don't find the space to run it unless I take out one Swordbreaker or take out one of the grade 2 Cathbat, is it? I have no idea. The names is a bit confusing for me, but yeah, you can run 1 of this guy. I've seen people run maximum 2. You don't want to run 2 or more. It's a good alternative to first ride if your opponent decides to deny you counter blast. Last but not least, we got this unit in which I forget the name. Basically, it's on place, Vanguard Circle, you may put 1 grade 1 or less card into your soul, and this unit gains +3k, so it's a 13k attacker or booster in a sense. Yeah, Nightmare Painter, now I remember his name, or her name, either one. It's a good unit, I would say. Most of the time, you take up soul in this deck because of let's just say you got Charon, you got basically only Charon and maybe maximum Curse Lancer, but the soul in this deck is not say very limited in a sense, but so you don't really have to run this card. I feel that if you really want to run this card, you ideally want to run more Curse Lancers or maybe more cards that require Soul Blast, because other than that, I feel that this unit is really redundant in a sense, because I really want to keep rewriting to a grade 3, so from Phantom Blaster Dragon to Gust Blaster Dragon is much more potent and much more scary. So yeah, that's about it for the deck recipe. Thank you very much for watching. I'll be going to Japan this Sunday. So I'm recording this video on the 4th of March. I'll be flying off to Japan on the 10th of March, so it's a Sunday. And I'll probably vlog there for you guys. Hopefully this video, once it gets uploaded and maybe the week before or I go Japan, which is 10th of March, we actually hit 1K subscribers, and then maybe I'll do a 1K special. So leave your comments down below on what should I do for the 1K special. I promise I'll do it this time, even though I promised to do it in my 500 subscribers, but I really had no time to do it. But now I have more time because I've just graduated from school and I'm just waiting into army. Yeah, going to army right now. So yeah, I have a lot of free time. So thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you guys next time. This is V-BT04. I'm out. Peace.